Hi, my name's Christine. I'm doing research in care in human resource management and higher education. This comes from a long career in teaching and in human resource management. When I tell people about the research I'm doing, I say care and HR, they say, oh, I've got a story I can tell you. So today I've got 3 people who volunteered to tell their HR stories and their experience of HR. Denise, she's an expert in organisational development and organisational change.
I've had the change done to me where I've been a part of that change and my job's been on the line, and I've also had to manage a team of staff members through the difficulty of going through change. But also as a senior manager organisational development, part of my role was working with senior executives in the organisation to help them implement that change. So often I was 3-pronged in the change project, responsible for managing it on a day-to-day basis, but also an active member of it. And some of the tension that I felt while I've been managing this change is that the senior executives often seem to have lost touch with what it would be like for some of their staff going through this change. It's often seen that if the staff member is anxious or concerned or worried, and like more often than not, when we talk about change, we're talking about restructuring. No matter what it is, if you're implementing a new computer system, you're restructuring, no matter what you do, one of the outcomes of that change is to reduce staff numbers. So people, the moment change is mentioned, they know that their job could be on the line. And then the moment that the new proposed restructure comes out, they can see if their name's in a box or not, if their job is now being cut. And sometimes the change process will take 12 months. So they don't know for 12 months whether they have a job at the end of this and what they're going to do. And they become concerned and anxious, but suddenly that's seen that they're resistant to change, they can't handle change, they're negative to change. A lot of people actually support the new project or the new restructure. They can see the benefit of it, they know why it's being done, but at the end of the day, they still may lose their job. It was in meetings where we were discussing who's going to take a package, who's not, how many, what will that mean, and we're having these strategic meetings. Senior executives on $300,000 a year are actually appalled that some administration person, at an ASO 4 level, an ASO 3 level, or an ASO 2, so you're talking about $30,000, $40,000 a year salary, who may be only working part-time, who may have 2 young children, whose husband may work at Elizabeth and his job may be on the line as well, who's probably had a number of years off with maternity leave and so forth, who's going to walk out with a package worth about $50,000, and that person's sitting there and can't understand why that person won't take a package and can't understand why that person is really concerned about their job. They lose sight and they lose empathy with why people are anxious, and as if being anxious is something, it's wrong. Like that makes you less than a person, that you can't handle change. You don't have any resilience if you're anxious. Whereas to me, that's a normal reaction to what's going on around you. So for 12 months, I had to manage the change. I had to support senior executives. I had to support my staff where I had 9 staff and there was only going to be 2 jobs at the end of it. I had to support my staff through that. And all the way through that for 12 months, every day I went to work not knowing if I'd have another job. And I had to keep my motivation up, I had to act professional, and I had to support an organisation around me, and staff members from the whole organisation were coming to me because they were concerned, and at the same time I didn't know if I was going to have another job at the end of the 12 months and what I was going to do if I didn't have that job, and that's what I had to go through.
Margot, I've known Margot for a long time. We've taught together in higher education and we've worked at several of the same places. And again, when I asked her if she'd like to tell a story, she was happy to come and tell her story about her experiences of HR.
I work as a lecturer for a couple of organisations which are now owned by the same umbrella organisation, which is a global organisation. And one of the issues that I've had with them is, as a sessional teaching staff, as all of the teachers are, a lack of awareness of where to go for HR issues. I mean, we have a person that we report to, we have a reporting structure, but for anything that that person doesn't deal with, there's a lot of confusion and lack of awareness about who's responsible for HR. And really, despite working for that organisation for over a decade, it's always been very unclear to me where I should be going to talk to about HR issues. So when it came to me applying for my long service leave or inquiring about long service leave, the person that I turned to was the only person that I'd ever really known as being the HR person. And that was a woman who worked part-time. It was always unclear what days she worked. She worked in a different building to the one that I worked in, and I had never actually physically met her or been informed that she was the HR contact. Of course, if I called her, I got her voicemail. If I sent her messages, I got replies saying I only work on Thursday afternoons, Friday mornings. When I actually finally did get to talk to her, she was excellent and could not have been more helpful. And I, in fact, commented to her that up until that point, the feeling among the staff was that I didn't say this to her directly, but certainly the feeling among the staff was that it was her problem. It was her fault. She worked part-time, that she was never available, that it always took a long time to get action from her or from HR because she was the faceless face, the name of the person, and she copped everything. But she was actually really very useful, very helpful, very professional when it came to it, but it made it very, very difficult for me and for the other staff to know what exactly in HR she was responsible for, and just that the whole organisation had this feeling that there was really no HR.
Wayne, I also met through the university. He works in a large organisation and was telling me about some of his experiences with his performance management and working with his managers in his organisations, and was happy to share his stories with us as well.
People use it in an incorrect method. If someone's not performing correctly and they come past and they say, oh, if you're not doing the right thing, I'll performance manage you. And you go, well, hang on, performance management isn't a punitive task. It's not supposed to be a disciplinary manner. It's also supposed to be there for positive issues. So yes, you're doing a good job. You're really contributing to the team. You're meeting your KPIs. You're doing the right thing. Yes, you're sitting well in the team. You know, if people need a bit of assistance in their behaviour, yes, you can have it where you need to manage difficult conversations and performance manage and say, look, maybe your performance needs to be improved. This is where you're sitting in the work team. These are our KPIs. You're not quite meeting that, but at least performance management gives people an opportunity to understand where they sit in the work team and how they are performing, because without performance management, people don't know where they're sitting. Am I doing a good job? Am I doing a bad job? It's just left up to their own devices. And when people do that, you know, it can be a broad range, and people have their own ethical opinions where they should be sitting in a work team. You know, you want people that will do more, people will do less, but it's just like herding cats, really, where people all just have their own opinions, and what sits comfortably with other people may not be the expectations that are required by the work team. It's performance management time. You go, I've done something wrong, because that's the association you have with it, that it's associated with a negative connotation. You go, well, it shouldn't be. It should be, oh great, I get to speak with my management, I've got some really good ideas how I want to improve my career, I want to do some training, I've got some really good ideas for the work team, we can get some tasks and the jobs done. That provides you the opportunity. It provides you with a one-on-one session where you can sit down, you can talk to management and pass your ideas over, and you get a bit of a listening post. Not you've got performance management and you're going to be in trouble. You know, you've done something wrong, so you're being performance management. That's, you know, a misconception about that. Using the tool in the wrong way that it should be used. You know, it shouldn't be done in a disciplinary manner. So.
When I left my full-time paying job, I just wanted to have people to start conversations that would have a better understanding of how people are actually being treated in organisations. And not so much how they're being treated, but how people experience the treatment that they're being given. When people receive an email from a CEO that says, I want you to meet you in your office, how does that fall on their ears? How does that make them feel as they're sitting there at their desk? When an email goes around to all and sundry about redundancies that are going to happen, have they thought about how that person sitting at a computer is going to actually receive that message? So when I'm talking about care, it's such a wide area, but don't want to try and define care. I just want to understand care in organisations, and so we can start a conversation about what does that mean, and on the other side, what does the absence of care mean in organisations. So my research doesn't aim to find the answers or to give a new theory. I just want to get a better understanding about what's happening in organisations and the phenomenon of care, how people are experiencing care or how they experience the absence of care in their organisations. So we can start to think about not care as a noun or a thing, but caring. That needs to be done, I think, more often in organisations.